What's going on, y'all? Joe here from Blue Line Woodworks, and with springtime right around the corner, I thought I'd show y'all how I made these cedar planter boxes. So stay tuned if you want to see how these are built. This project includes 4 custom cedar planter boxes that will be hung on the front of a house. There's a lot of different cuts that are going to be made in this project, so I wanted to start off by differentiating between the main boards that I'll use to construct the boxes and the boards that I'll need to cut for the trim pieces. So just marking it out with a little chalk to stay organized. After I had the boards all laid out, I took them over to the miter saw to cut them the rough length to make them more manageable prior to sending them through the thickness planer. I cut all of the main boards to around 36 inches before sending them through the thickness planer, and man, does this cedar clean up nicely. I had the shop smelling fantastic as well. Once the boards were nice and flat, I grabbed my track saw to joint an edge. If you don't have a track saw, you can use a joiner, which I don't have. You could use your table saw, or you could use some hand planes to get a nice straight edge prior to cutting them to final width. Once all the boards were jointed up, I took them over to the table saw and cut the main boards to roughly 6 inches wide, and all of the trim pieces were 1.5 inches. Again, these are just guidelines. This is a custom project, so you can make the boards as wide or as narrow as you need for the project that you are working on. Once I finished up at the table saw, it was back to the miter saw to cut the end caps for the boxes. These I cut at around 5 3/4 inches to give the ends of the boxes a 6x6 frame. So as you can see here, everything was still kind of rough cut, so I lined it up, made a little pencil mark, and scribed it with a combination square, and brought it back to the miter station just so that everything would line up exact. I used some wood glue and 18 gauge brad nails to hold everything in place, and I went back and reinforced everything with some stainless steel trim screws. These planter boxes are going to be outside, so the stainless steel screws prevent the screw heads from bleeding into the wood to ensure that you keep a nice clean finished look on the planter boxes. When it was time to install the trim pieces, I found it to be easiest to just line them up, scribe a pencil line, take it to the miter station, and cut each piece. It was a little time consuming, but I got nice accurate cuts and everything lined up exactly the way I wanted it to. I attached the trim pieces with some wood glue and brad nails. No need for screws here because these aren't load bearing, so the glue and the brad nails will hold just fine. And for fitting the trim pieces, I just scribed each line. Again, a little time consuming, but I got the exact fit every time. For the longer trim pieces, it was the exact same method. I measured it out, scribed a line, made the cut on the miter saw, came back, glue, some brad nails, and it was good to go. I'm not a fan of seeing the nail holes on a finished project, so I just made my own wood putty using some cedar sawdust that I had left over from sanding and some wood glue to make a little wood putty. It hides the brad nail holes flawlessly and sands off extremely easily. So this is a great method for any project you're working on. Just make sure you use the sawdust from whatever species of wood that you're using. Although cedar is naturally rot resistant, standing water isn't good for any wood species. So I threw in 1/4-inch holes in the bottom of the boxes just to help with drainage to ensure that excess water is not standing in the boxes. To protect the reds and the purples in the cedar, you definitely want to put some type of finish on the boxes, but you also have to keep in mind what you're going to be putting in the boxes. If you're going to be planting vegetables or things that you're going to consume, you obviously want to make sure you use a food safe finish. But if you're going to be planting flowers and just more aesthetically pleasing plants, I would definitely go with a high quality water sealing exterior grade finish to really protect all of the vibrant colors. For this project, the customer just wanted me to build the boxes and they were going to install them themselves. So if you're wondering, you could use L brackets or stainless steel screws and just go right into the side of your house depending on what the setup is. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing how the cedar planter boxes were put together. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Throw me a thumbs up, comment below if you got something to say about this project, and make sure you follow me on Instagram at Blue Line Woodworks for all of the most up-to-date behind the scenes builds that I'm working on. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you next time.